Hey, what's up guys? Diesel Doug here, back with another video. Today we are doing some maintenance work on my personal 2017 6.7 Powerstroke. We are doing the fuel filters, both down on the frame rail and the one up in the engine bay. So I'm just gonna do a quick how-to video on those, just so you guys can save yourself some money and do maintenance on your own personal trucks. Okay guys, so here's the Ford part number. We're doing OEM Motorcraft filters on this truck. That's what I always recommend, what I always do on all the trucks that come in my shop. So this is the filter that goes down on the frame in front of the tank. New gasket there for the bottom mount for this. So one that goes up in the engine bay. And for the 17 to 19 guys, the kit comes with these clips. I'll show you real quick where these go. So on the 17 and 19 trucks, this fitting right there is really common for braking. On the newer trucks, they actually change that to a 90-degree fitting. So what this is, this clip kit that comes in the fuel filter package, this is two pieces that clip around the end of that and go over to the hose just to add some reinforcement to the end of it, so you don't have to worry about breaking the end of that fitting off. So I do strongly recommend you put these on. Don't throw them away. I mean, obviously if your truck already has these on, then you don't need to replace them, but if you do not have these yet on your 17 to 19 Powerstroke and that line right there, I do strongly recommend you put these on. And I'll show in the video installing these and show what they look like when they're on. So first we're going to do the filter underneath the truck. First you're going to turn this to drain it. Make sure you have a drain pan underneath here. Unplug your connector here. And then there is, I believe there's 5. I think there's 3 on, let me double check here. Yep, there's 1, 2, and there's 3 on this side. 1, 2, and then 1 over here in the corner, 3. So there's 5 8mm bolts that hold that on. You're gonna go ahead and run those out and you'll be able to drop this whole thing right out. But yeah, like I said, drain this first, let it run down to your drain pan. And then when it stops, you can go ahead and drop this plastic piece down and the whole filter element will come down with it. Okay guys, so while we let that drain down underneath the truck, we'll go ahead and swap this filter out. This one's pretty quick and easy. I'll show you how to undo these 3 fittings here. And just so you're aware, this middle fitting on my truck is different than factory because I do have the SNS fuel disaster kit installed. So that's the only clip that's a little different than the factory one. But so this rear one, just pinch these 2 tabs together, push it down, that will pop right out. I'll go ahead and pull that one off. There we go. On mine, I have the SNS kit. Just this button on the top, there's one on the bottom, pinch them together, that'll pull right off. And this one, this is one where a lot of people break it. You don't want to break this one. So that's usually like that. Push that out of the way, and that's where a lot of people think they can just pull on this and pull it off. That's not the case. There's a button right here. There's one on the top and bottom. You have to pinch these, and it'll pull right off. There you can kind of see that button there, one on the top, one on the bottom. And like I said, if you have a 17-19 truck and you don't have that collar installed, we'll go ahead and install that so we don't have to worry about breaking that in the future. So now, lines are disconnected. Just turn this about 90 degrees. You'll start to dump some fuel out. That's what the rag's there for. You can lift up on it. Try to keep that tilted back so you don't have fuel everywhere. And just like that, fuel filters out. There is going to be quite a bit of fuel in this, so you'll want to dump this in your drain pan down there and trying to make a mess everywhere. So here we have our new filter, and this will go in the same way. You'll start with those fittings facing backwards, turn it clockwise, about 90 degrees, it'll stop, lock into place, and you push your new fuel fillings back on. So a closer look at this collar that goes on here. This is just half of it, but so you'll have this first rib. Let's see if I can get this camera focus a little better. You have that first rib inside there, and then you have the second rib. That's the one you want to go, focus again, camera, in that slot right there. And you'll be able to tell you have in the right spot because this piece will be pushed all the way up against that orange clip. So I'll go ahead and install it and show you guys a video of it installed. So here's a shot of it halfway installed. You can see where that rib sits inside this plastic housing. So I'll clip the other half together and show you guys another video of it fully installed. You can see it's right up against that orange piece as far as it'll go. So that's how you know you got it in the right spot. All right, so there it is, fully clipped together. Like I said, this just reinforces this end piece so you're not sitting there breaking, pulling the hose off of this fitting here, or breaking the end of that fitting. And yeah, you can see it's pressed right up against that orange clip. So now that that's on there, go ahead and reinstall this last fitting. Push it all the way on. Squeeze the orange tab over. We're good and locked in. Make sure when you put this rear one on, this is the one that most people don't get pressed on all the way. Make sure you have it. See how it's kind of in line with this middle one here. I did not push one of these on all the way one time, and the front of that was at about the back of this one. And just cycling the key, it made enough pressure to pop that off, and fuel sprayed everywhere. So just make sure you double check that you have that one all the way on and got your clip secured. Also, inside that bag where the clip comes, it does come with instructions. You can see here how to install it. And it shows here exactly where that rib goes. So just if you don't quite understand the video, just look at the instructions. It's pretty detailed and it's pretty hard to mess up. So, but I do recommend you install that fitting. So here we are, we have the fuel filter now that was in front of the tank out. Like I said, there's just those 5 8mm, 2 on what would be the rear closest to the tank and then 3 on the front. This filter's not too dirty. I was a little nervous because this is the first time I've done fuel filters on this truck since I bought it, so I wasn't sure how well the previous owner kept up on it, but as far as everything else goes on the truck, like everything else is in really good shape and all OEM stuff, so I'm assuming the guy did really good maintenance on it, so this ain't too bad. I'm glad I'm replacing it though, just for peace of mind. So now that this is out on the floor, you just have to slide this over and then the actual filter will come out. Put that in your drain, and I am gonna wash this out. There's a little bit of sediment on the bottom of it, so I'm just gonna wash that out before I put the new filter on, and then we'll install the new filter. Don't forget to pull your old gasket out. I have a pick here, I'll do that in a minute. Install your new gasket, clip your new filter on, and then you're ready to throw it back in. So we have the inside of that all cleaned out. There's just, a little bit of dirt sediment and some rust particles built up like in the edges here. So I just went through and cleaned it out as good as I could. Blew it all out of there so it's nice and clean. Pulled the O-ring off, cleaned out the O-ring groove. Now we're ready to install our new O-ring and fuel filter. And here she is all installed, new filter, new gasket, all cleaned out. Now we just put it back up in place, tighten down your 5 8mm bolts, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so we have our fuel filter housing back in place. I tightened down these by hand, just to be safe not to over tighten them. They're just metal inserts into a plastic housing, so don't want to rip those out or spin them or nothing. So you tighten them down by hand. They got a pretty obvious spot where they stop when they're tight. So after you get those tightened up, don't forget to plug your sensor back in here. Needs a little bit of force, but you'll hear it click when it's in. And then now we can just double check over everything, and then we'll be able to turn the key and cycle the fuel pump a few times and should be ready to fire up. So now that you've got both your fuel filters installed and double checked all your fittings, make sure everything's good and tight, plug your sensors back in. You want to go ahead and cycle the ignition. I usually turn it on, leave it on for 30 seconds to a minute, and cycle it 4 or 5 times. You'll really hear it when the first couple cycles. You'll hear that air sucking through that filter. So see if you can hear it down here. You can definitely hear it pushing the air through there. So I'm gonna do that a couple times. That noise will get quieter 4 or 5 times. Leave it run for about a minute, and then you'll be able to fire the truck up, and it should fire it up. You can already hear it getting better. I'll go ahead and shut the key off, cycle it again. And you can hear it again. Like I said, do it a few times, 4 or 5 times, and fire the truck up. Also, while you're cycling your key and letting your fuel pump run, it's a good time just to double check you have no leaks anywhere. Like I said, once it starts to build pressure, if one of these fittings wasn't on, it'll probably pop off without even starting the truck, and you'll know right away because it will spray everywhere. All right, so that was the 5th time cycling it. The fuel system was getting substantially quieter, so we should be able to fire it up now. And that's all there is to it. So there you have it, guys. Another maintenance video for a 6.7 Powerstroke. Fuel filters, doing both of them, the lower and the upper one up in the engine bay. Pretty straightforward task, pretty inexpensive. I think the fuel filters you buy yourself are like 50-60 bucks for both of them. And you know, take it to a dealership to have that done, they'd probably charge you 200 bucks plus shop materials. So pretty easy job to save yourself money. If you guys have any questions or comments, comment down below. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll be sure to post more how-to videos for these 6.7 Powerstrokes.